So, you've done it. You've built an AI agent prototype. The demo is a huge hit, it works like a charm in your notebook, and everyone's excited. But now what? How do you actually take that amazing but fragile experiment and turn it into a real, scalable, reliable product that people can depend on? That jump right there, that's the chasm every single developer has to cross. And in this explainer, we're going to walk you through the complete Google Cloud roadmap to get you safely to the other side.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's that moment of truth. Because the gap between a demo that works for one person and a system that can handle thousands of users at once without breaking a sweat, that is a massive leap. And we're not just talking about making it bigger, we're talking about making it reliable, making it trustworthy, and building it so you can actually understand and verify its reasoning.
And this right here, this just nails the difference. A prototype, come on, we've all been there. It's held together with duct tape and hope. It's been vibe tested, which just means it feels like it's working. But a production system, that has to be a fortress. It needs to be scalable, the way it thinks has to be verifiable, and most important of all, your users have to be able to trust it. We're not building a script anymore, we're building a service. So, here's our game plan. We're going to follow a clear 6-step roadmap. First, we'll pick the right brain for our agent. Then we'll teach it how to actually act on its intelligence. After that, we'll build its memory, ground it firmly in reality, and finally, we'll put it through a production-ready bootcamp. Let's get started.
Now, this isn't just some random checklist of tips. This is a disciplined engineering practice, a proven path for building AI that's not just intelligent, but also incredibly reliable on Google Cloud. So let's dive into the first, and honestly, one of the most critical decisions you're going to make.
Let's start with the absolute core of your agent, its brain, the large language model. This is your first big decision. And you know what? The right choice probably isn't what you think it is.
You see, the biggest mistake people make is thinking they just need to grab the most powerful, most capable model off the shelf. But the smart play, the production-ready play, is a constant balancing act. You're always juggling a model's raw capability with its speed and, of course, its cost. The goal isn't to build the biggest brain, it's to build the most efficient brain for the specific job at hand.
For example, let's say you're doing thousands of simple translations or classifications. You don't need a sledgehammer for that. A super fast, cost-efficient model like Gemini 2.5 Flash-Lite is perfect. But when you need to tackle really complex, multi-step reasoning, well, that's when you bring in the powerhouse, Gemini 3 Pro. So the key takeaway here is this: a truly great system isn't one genius agent. It's usually a whole team of specialized agents, each one using the perfect model for its part of the job.
Okay, so we've picked out the brain. Now, we need to build its executive function. A brain isn't much good if it can't do anything, right? This is where orchestration comes in. It's the logic that lets an agent actually plan and execute complex, multi-step tasks.
And the core pattern for this is a framework called React. The name says it all, really. It stands for reason plus action. It creates this amazing loop where the agent essentially thinks out loud. It generates a reasoning trace, and then it takes an action, like calling a tool or an API. It's a beautifully simple idea, but it is incredibly powerful.
Let's break down what this loop actually looks like. First, the agent reasons. It thinks to itself, okay, what's my goal here and what's the plan? Then it acts. It picks the right tool for the job and uses it. And finally, it observes the result of that action, which then feeds right back into its next thought. This reason, act, observe cycle is the engine that drives an agent forward, letting it solve really complex problems step by step.
And don't just take my word for it. As Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian says, this is the next frontier for AI. We're moving way beyond simple question and answer. This is about giving AI a really complex goal and trusting it to orchestrate the entire, messy, multi-step workflow to get the job done.
An agent that can't remember anything from one moment to the next isn't very intelligent, is it? Just like us, a production-grade agent needs a sophisticated memory, and the best way to build that is with a tiered architecture. Think about how your own memory works. You've got 3 layers here. First, there's long-term knowledge. This is the agent's giant library of facts, everything it knows, and you can manage this with something like Vertex AI Search. Then you have working memory, which is like its short-term scratch pad for the task it's working on right now. This needs to be super fast, so we use a service like Memory Store. And finally, there's transactional memory, a permanent, unchangeable, auditable diary of every important action it's ever taken, stored securely in a database like Cloud SQL. So, our agent has a brain, it can act, and it has this powerful memory system. But there's a catch. How do we make sure the information it's using is actually true and trustworthy? This brings us to grounding. It's the critical process of anchoring an agent's answers in verifiable facts, not just letting it pull things from its massive pre-trained and sometimes incorrect knowledge. Now, the standard technique here is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. It's a fancy name for a really simple idea. Before the agent answers a question, it's forced to first go look up the answer in a trusted external knowledge base, that long-term memory we just built, and then it uses those facts to construct its response. It's like an open book test for the AI.
But just looking something up once isn't always enough to find the truth, is it? We can take this a huge step further. The real evolution here is something we call agentic RAG.
And here's the game-changing difference. With basic RAG, the agent is like a librarian who just fetches the first book you ask for. But with agentic RAG, the agent becomes a detective. It doesn't just fetch information. It actively investigates. It forms a plan, it conducts multiple searches, it cross-references clues from different sources, and it synthesizes all of that into the best possible answer. It's actively reasoning, not just repeating.
We are on the home stretch. We've built an agent that's smart, capable, has a memory, and is grounded in facts. The final, crucial domain is making absolutely certain it's reliable enough for the real world. This is where we bring in a rigorous AgentOps framework to guarantee quality.
Because let's be honest, in a production environment, it feels like it works is not a real metric. That's just not going to cut it. We need a disciplined, data-driven way to test and guarantee quality before a single user ever interacts with our agent.
And we do that with this 4-layer evaluation framework. Think of it like a pyramid of trust. At the very bottom, we have component tests, simple unit tests to make sure each individual tool works. Then we move up to trajectory evaluation. Here, we're checking the agent's step-by-step reasoning to make sure its thought process is correct. Layer 3 is outcome, where we do something really cool. We use another LLM as a judge to grade the quality of our agent's final answer. And finally, at the very top is system monitoring, where we're watching everything in production, latency, tool failures, costs, to make sure it's all running smoothly. Okay, I know what you might be thinking after all that. Models, orchestration, memory tiers, a 4-layer evaluation framework. It sounds like a ton of work to set up. And it would be. But here is the absolute best part, the real payoff. What if I told you that you could bootstrap all of that complex infrastructure with just a single command? What's so amazing is what this one command does behind the scenes. It's not just a script. It's generating all the professional-grade Terraform files, that's your infrastructure as code, and all the CI/CD pipelines you need for secure, auto-scaling deployment right on the Vertex AI Agent Engine. It automatically builds that massive bridge from your code to the cloud for you.
So there you have it. When you've followed this roadmap, you're not just patching up a prototype. You're engineering a truly robust, production-grade system. You're building a foundation that's designed from the ground up for scale, for reliability, and for trust. The only question left is, now that you have the blueprint, what will you build next?